Mumbai. We're thrilled to be here with you this morning. Thank you so much for the turnout. We hope that you enjoyed the opening act. That really hopefully shows the commitment that we have here in Mumbai to, bridging what you have from a cultural perspective to what we're going to bring you today from a technology perspective. So we're thrilled to be here. This is the second time that we've actually been in Mumbai in the last 6 months. And I thought I would take a moment to kind of give you some reflections on how far we've come over the last 6 months. So some recent milestones that we've announced. So we now have over 4 million paid customers on G Suite. On average, Google launches 4 billion containers per week. And we've launched over the last 6 months new global partnerships with SAP, Cisco, and Salesforce. We also continue to expand from an infrastructure perspective. We just launched this morning our 16th region out of Finland. So now we have 16 regions. Yes, we've got a Finnish person in the front row. We just launched our 16th region. We have 5 additional regions that will be coming out later this year. And here in Asia Pacific, if you think back just 2 years ago when I joined Google Cloud, we had 1 region in Asia Pacific, in Taiwan. You fast forward to today, we now have 5 regions, and we're launching 2 additional regions in Asia Pacific later this year. One in Osaka, Japan, and another in Hong Kong. Here in Mumbai, we launched a region about 8 months ago. You can cheer if you'd like. So that's available for any user in India to take advantage of the Google Cloud platform. So we have a number of services, and we continue to invest in launching new services in the Mumbai region. So we have 3 zones. And the most recent services that we launched were Cloud Key Management Service, as well as Cloud Spanner. So Cloud Spanner is the only enterprise-grade database that is globally distributed and strongly consistent for you as a user. We also have continued to work really hard to be able to work with some of the largest, most well-known companies here in India and across the globe. You'll hear from many of them today, but we're thrilled and very honored to be able to work with a number of them. We also have been working really hard on building out our partner ecosystem. So our partner ecosystem, we categorize around global systems integration companies like a Wipro or a TCS, as well as regional systems integration companies, or what I like to call born-in-the-cloud systems integration companies. We also work very closely with technology partners, such as I mentioned, SAP, Salesforce, Cisco, and the like. Now, one thing that we heard from you 6 months ago that you want more of is you want more training and you want more enabling. So we heard you loud and clear, and one thing that I'm really thrilled to be able to say is that India is now leading the globe when it comes to training on Google Cloud. We've seen the training grow by over 800% year on year from a number of people that are sitting for more than 4 hours on Google Cloud technologies. Now, something that we're launching just today are 2 new things. One is a new course on machine learning via Coursera. The second thing is we're announcing an associate certification around machine learning. Now, I'll pause here for a moment because I want to give you an opportunity to activate your free course voucher. So we've got 2,000 people here in the room, and we've got more than 5,000 people on the live stream. Take your time, download this, take a photo, or go online and activate this course voucher. We've got a great lineup of speakers today. I'm really excited for them to be able to tell you their story and their journey with Google Cloud and how we're partnering together to help them and their end users. So really take the opportunity to listen about their use cases, how they're taking advantage of cloud-based services with Google, and how we're helping their end users. And I want to take a moment to thank our partners. We would not be able to host such a great event for this many people here in Mumbai without our partners. So first of all, thank you to our platinum sponsors, Salesforce and Sears, to our gold sponsors, Citrix, Team Computers, and Red Hat, and to our silver sponsors, Activo, Shivami, Quantify, and SkyMap. We're really appreciative of the partnerships that you all bring to us. Now, before I leave, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Please stop by the partner booths, interact with our technical resources, spend time in the playground, and come talk to myself and the other Googlers so we can learn more about your use cases and how we can partner and work with all of you. Now, before I turn it over, I do want to make one final announcement. So as we're going through hypergrowth here in India, we've actually recently brought on a new leader to run our Indian business. And so please join me in providing a warm Mumbai welcome to Nitin Bhawankuli, our country director for India. Nitin, come on up.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning. And once again, welcome on behalf of Google Cloud India. As Rick mentioned, I've been with Google for close to 7 years now and was part of the advertising business solutions, and I've met many of you over the last few years. And my experience in the technology field was in my stint in Dell when I used to sell storage and compute solutions at Dell India for close to 6.5 years. When I look back at my last 10 plus years across Google and Dell, I consider myself very fortunate to have been a part of discussions and journey with each one of you in understanding your businesses and their opportunities and their challenges. And I've also been a part to understand those, but also help solve them with technology. Right from building marketing solutions that could enable reach to your customers in the best possible way and the most productive and efficient way and engage with them productively, to helping you mine your data which you have because of the multiple interactions which you had with your customers. Now, as I joined the Google Cloud family, I'm looking forward to enhance and bring the power of Google Cloud, Google, to all of you, where we will bring synergies between the Google Marketing Solutions team and the Google Suite offerings in the cloud business, right from our compute to storage, to AI, ML, and analytics. With this, we will be able to power you a lot more to solve your challenges which you face in your businesses today and tomorrow. When you look at these names, most of this are customers who have leveraged this power of Google, or power of one Google as I call it, over the last few years. Our Google Cloud team's aim is over the next few years, we will bring this power to all of you. I look forward to working with all of you over the next few months and years and bring this power and solutions to you. Thanks once again for joining us here today, and I'm sure you will find the entire day very fruitful. With this, I would like to introduce Miles Ward, who is a Director for Solutions for Google Cloud and has flown from Mountain View especially for this event. Thank you once again.
Morning, everybody. My name's Miles. I run solutions architecture, and I'm here in disguise as a business person. I think in another life, I was probably one of the bass drummers from the opening act. Can we get another round of applause for how great that was? I'm very excited to present to you today. I know the opportunity that's present in public cloud and in what's happening in technology right here in India and around the world is something that creates such a new chance for all of us to move forward. I want to explain and unpack that, take you through where we are as a business and where we think together we can go. There's a very real global opportunity today. I don't know if you've noticed, but 15 years ago, if I did this, you'd think I was getting ready to adjust my makeup or something. But now everybody knows what I'm doing is connecting with everybody around the world. The advent of mobile and social, the advances in cloud technology and data management and data analysis are changing the way every business works. They're making what was totally impossible into something that's absolutely trivial. But you have to recognize that in every one of those opportunities, there's a little bit of challenge. So, take the word disruptor or disruption, right? There's a reason that Gene Roddenberry named the ray gun that the Romulans used the disruptor. It sounds scary, right? Most big businesses today, and even small ones competing turf to turf, recognize that the rate of advancement in technology, the change that's happening in the art of what's possible, is creating a lot of new possibility, but also a lot of new risk. In the United States, companies that I used to shop at, Toys R Us, gone. Blockbuster, gone. Disrupted. Right? The average age of US companies is going down as the businesses that aren't saddled with the technology limitations and the impossibility of innovation on behalf of their customers find it hard to compete in a modern economy. So what we would recommend, what we see happening business to business, region to region, is a change in strategy where companies divest from legacy application architectures, from legacy technologies, which limit their creativity, prevent their ability to move forward, and instead increase their investment in data and analysis, in making data-driven decisions, in working together in collaboration with your customers as opposed to working without a view. And by applying those new investments, embracing the spirit of innovation, capturing the business value that's available as you take the next steps forward to ever closer match the needs of your customers and to capture the opportunities present in your market. We believe Google Cloud is a great place to take that step. And I'm here to walk through what I think are basically 4 reasons that it's really the right time, now, here, today, in Mumbai, this afternoon, in the next 25 minutes, to work together with us to step forward and to build what's next. First, we're here to provide a trusted platform. I've worked at Google for 4 years, and I'm here to tell you I've been blown away over and over again by the innovation happening in security and compliance and helping you build systems that allow you to make great promises to your customers and keep them. We've also built a platform designed to push intelligence into every part of your applications, into your operations and your customer service, into your communications, and into your development. We've also built a platform that really can transform the way that you work by enabling collaboration, making it so that your knowledge workers are more productive, removing the barriers and the silos that impede innovation. And I think at the most basic, we're really trying to unleash the aspirations of your developers. Who doesn't want to build something incredible? With our tools and our platform, we think we can help you do that. So I'm going to spend some time talking about each of these areas. Make sure you really see where Google Cloud is differentiated in bringing great value to your next initiative. So first, I want to talk about the differences in security, because none of those other benefits, if we're faster, if we're cheaper, if we're more reliable, none of that matters if you're not safe. And Google's built its 8 billion user businesses on top of the trust afforded to us by our customers. And so it's critical that I show you just how you can build that same trust with your customers using the tools that we've built. A critical difference between Google Cloud and other environments is just how much of this technology that we've built. It's not something where we bolted on security after the fact. There's no crunchy outer layer where all the defenses are a wall or a perimeter around our infrastructure. And then inside, well, it's complicated to secure every last little bit, so maybe we'll just sort of let things talk in plain text. That's not how we're designed. Google built its technology systems from scratch, and it built them security first. So at every layer of our infrastructure, what you'll find is an approach, is a philosophy that puts user safety and data security front and center. So it's not just a great firewall or spectacular DDoS defense, although we have those tools and more. Every single layer of the infrastructure system is independently defended from every other layer. A violation or manipulation at the network tier can't manipulate applications, and applications that are compromised can't disable operations. Each of these different layers has its own independent security model that ensures that your applications benefit from the decades of Google experience in keeping customers safe. In order to do that, you have to spend $1 or $2. This is the Google network and global data center infrastructure. It cost $30.9 billion over the last 3 years alone. It represents on the order of 1/5 of all of the x86 processors that get manufactured every year, so about 1/5 of the computers. It requires, in order to keep those computers busy, a lot of storage. So we add 8,000 kilograms of disk to the data centers every day. And in order to keep those disks full, we interconnect them with a private network that Google built from scratch, which is 5 times the bandwidth, the total throughput of this other network you've probably heard of called the internet. So we probably have enough stuff for you to be able to borrow and run your applications. Yeah? That system must be kept safe, must be made secure for those 8 billion user services. And the real reason we want it to be safe is so that you can build the next billion user service on top. That depends on not just a piecemeal or a point-wise or an individualized approach. I talk to companies all the time that say, we're serious about security. And I say, are you encrypted end-to-end by default for every storage service? And they go, oh no, that's really hard. That's complicated. I'd have to do key management, and I'd have to do key rotations, and wow, that really impacts performance. There are all sorts of problems with that. Every user of Google Cloud, every single storage system on Google is encrypted end-to-end by default. You can't opt out. You can't screw it up. There's no way for you to click the wrong button and accidentally not encrypt. So which one of the two is a safer place? You tell me. We also know that just because we keep your data safe doesn't mean that you shouldn't have control. You can supply your own encryption keys. You can manage them. We can manage them. We have an end-to-end control framework for ensuring that the safety of your data is preserved while also preserving your control, your independent authority. That allows us to make a really big, really positive impact in the security profile of our customers. We are filtering millions, 10 million spam emails every minute from the front of Gmail. Think about how clearly we need to understand the risk profile exposed to 1 billion downstream users of a global service operating in almost every country. That capability is something we can confer onto you as users of Google Cloud. Every one of these benefits is something that you inherit safety from. Right? Would you rather be defended by a couple of IT folks who are working hard, doing their best, but just don't have the same horsepower as 1,000 full-time security engineers working at Google? I really urge you to think carefully about the security ramifications of the choice of where you run. I watch most businesses now starting to say, I choose cloud for security, not the other way around. Another part of this is that we have to make the cloud transparent. We have to let you see how all of this works. So we're one of the first to make available really clear access logs to ensure that you can see what's happening at the front end of your load balancers, your firewalls, and other components inside of our system. I'll tell a story. How many folks have heard of Spectre and Meltdown? Couple? Yeah? Okay. Any of you have computers? Okay. You're all vulnerable to this vulnerability. Every processor, which includes branch prediction, which is all x86 chips for about the last 17 years, are vulnerable to an exploit which allows remote code execution. Does anybody think that sounds like a good idea? Do you want others executing code on your computers? Perhaps not. Google engineers discovered this vulnerability, and it's a vulnerability in the system that makes computers go faster, branch prediction. It actually makes them about 20% faster on average. So we wrote software to fix the bug without a performance impact and patched the entire global fleet, all products, all services, without any of our customers knowing. Folks that are in GCP today, did you notice that we did like a whole system-wide patch and everything sort of got rebooted? No? That's okay. That's by design. Our systems aren't designed to go down when we do these kinds of systematic maintenance events. Our competitors, for the same vulnerability, learn about it after the fact and say, well, we might have a performance impact by turning off branch prediction. We'll let you know when Intel releases patches. We're sort of dependent on them. Our environments are able to protect you in advance. And it would be one thing if this was one story. We've done this one time. But this is one of 802 common vulnerabilities and exploits that Google security engineers have discovered and resolved over the last decade. 800. So when your enterprise says, we're serious about security, ask them how many common vulnerabilities they've resolved, how many they've discovered. I'm going to bet that that rhymes with the word hero. So, if you think about what that enables for our customers, it enables them to move confidently and enables them to migrate to our platform when they have really critical, serious customer data. We work together with the folks at Evernote. They run a system that's hundreds of millions of users, but they were able to move on to us in 70 days. They moved 3.5 petabytes over the wire, migrated hundreds of application components onto us, and were able to take advantage of our improved security profile at no additional effort on their part. Sounds pretty good, right? What if I told you you could go faster than that? What if 70 is not so fast? That's less than a quarter. You could move your whole business to cloud in less than a quarter. I'd like to invite to the stage a new friend of mine who did it just a little faster. He says it's 53 days. Please welcome Pierre from Truecaller to the stage. Awesome. So, Pierre, I have these questions.
Okay, shoot, man. But before you do that, just a show of hands. How many have heard about Truecaller before? Good. How many use Truecaller today? Great. It's good.
Well, this question's gone. So I think you've got cloud beat. So first question. Thinking through how, where you are as a business, like what's happening? What's happening with Truecaller right now? Where are you at?
Well, Truecaller is at a really good place right now. We're showing some great growth numbers. We have about 250 million downloads. We have just passed a couple of weeks ago 100 million DAOs, which is amazing. We're up there in a very privileged group of companies. So you were talking about trust before, right? Yeah. And we trust is at our core, right? Our vision is to deliver safe and efficient communication to globally to our users, and we're trying to focus on making sure our users have the right information and can manage their communication doing that. So the numbers really tell our story from when when Alan and Nami, our founders, started out the business and they saw this use case that they tried to solve for their own sake, right? And they built this into what we have today, which is solving some real use cases. And it's not only, you talk about trust, it's not only about actually making sure people can manage their communication, it's about safety, right? And looking at the spam numbers today, we looked at, Truecaller produced some insights reports, and last year, you see one spammer in India alone is sending 55 million SMSs, right? 1 out of 3 women in India get unwanted calls. And we try to sort of make sure that we can prevent that. And for me personally, just that makes it really exciting to work at Truecaller.
Yeah, incredible. For Truecaller, any kind of futures? What's next? Where are you going?
Yeah, Truecaller is on an exciting path right now. Yeah. We're building, continue to build on the trust, right? But we also see machine learning and how we can merge our services and try to find new and exciting ways of presenting our services and unique use cases, solving unique use cases for our users by merging that. And we have a few projects that will, I won't give any details, but there are some services going to come in the coming months that will really benefit from that.
Oh, that's super exciting. Super exciting. So, turning the corner. We're here. It's Google Cloud. How did Google Cloud help with that mission?
Well, we've been looking at the cloud for quite some time, right? But as we came into the spring, we had a shift in thought process, and we decided to go major on cloud. And we brought Google on board, right? And we started the migration, and as you said, we had a pretty tight time schedule for a number of reasons, and we asked Google to help us out, and they've really stepped up to the plate. You guys have done a great job. We had a great team in Stockholm. We're a small team in Truecaller. I don't know if you know that. It's a quite small team, so we really needed some help, and the help that we got was not only to migrate everything, but set everything up and to really work with all the details in the project. So in less than 60 days, maybe 53, maybe 55 days, we managed to move petabytes of data. We managed to move gigabits. We're running gigabits of traffic. Hundreds of millions of users have been moved in those days without any disturbance whatsoever to the operations. Mm-hmm. So thanks to the team here. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So if that's the migration, right? You came across the wire. What benefits? What outcome? Why take all that work on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of reasons we went here. I mean, you talked about security. Trust is at our core. So security is going to be, we take our users' privacy really serious. Transparency and privacy is the core of everything we do. So being with Google gives us another level of security, clearly. There are some real benefits in terms of network services that you provide, like the global load balancer. We have some gRPC traffic that we can utilize really, really well in Google. Managed Kubernetes. I mean, you were talking about enabling developers. It's a paradigm shift for our organization completely. Yeah. Yeah. Our developers is going to be able to focus on really producing product value for our users instead of operations. But I would say, I mean, just a few examples of that might be interesting to you. Like Cassandra clusters. We would take days or weeks to set up a Cassandra cluster in our DC in Stockholm before. Today, we do it in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. I think the same goes with Kubernetes and how we deploy our services today. We can deploy services. We have about 70 backend services that we deploy. We can deploy them in a few minutes. It would take days before, and prone to manual errors, etc. Now it's all automated, and so it's great. It's really great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So if that's the deployment and sort of operations experience, anything that you're getting on the data and analytics side that's helping you out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the key reasons why we actually choose to go with Google is the data and the possibilities that we have going forward. I think if you look at all the numbers, we process about 13 billion events per day. It's about 1.5 terabytes of data. And the way we use that and analyze that, and the way the possibilities that we have with Google going forward is going to show to produce some really good products for our users, I think. And from a business side, we're going to be able to analyze our business much better in the future. So I think overall, I mean, the performance that we see now, we have the initial numbers. I mean, we're just at the end of these 53 days now, so it's really early to say, and we have some optimization still to do. But I would say we're producing about 60% faster responses to our users on some of our core services.
Not 60?
60%. 60%. And that user experience is amazing. And if you look at developers, what we've seen so far, we're having a 40% better efficiency in terms of using autoscaling, and that's, again, just in the beginning. So I think the numbers are telling the story themselves.
Yeah. Wow. Pierre, thank you so much. I really like it. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, everybody. Okay, I think you leave that there, and then I go over here, and then he walks down there, and then everything works great. So if that's a story about what's possible with the data platform, with migrating into our infrastructure, I want to maybe drill down a little bit about what we mean by intelligence everywhere. What's possible when you are laying a better foundation for all of the choices that you make? I think the biggest thing that a lot of companies find is, okay, yeah, I'm supposed to do big data now. That means I save all my logs, and now I have these enormous files, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. And where's the actual signal? Where's the insight that leads me to making better choices, to taking better actions? A big part of Google's platform, right? Remember, literally our mission statement is organizing and making useful and universally accessible the world's information. That's about finding those answers. It's about finding the little insights inside of your data that can help you better serve customers, help you exceed their expectations, and capture the opportunities that are next. So I expect that you're going to see a lot of examples that you can emulate in Google Cloud products, all across Google's business. In fact, I'll let you in a secret. As of today, every single Google product is improved by a machine learning model of some kind. Every one of them. So if you imagine that it's not like you do that stuff for fun, it has to have a positive impact. It is a little fun, but that kind of investment by Google engineering and making systems better through the power of data, it's got to pay dividends. And I have to expect that you'll find the same. Right? From photos through Translate, Gmail, Slides, every one of these different products are taking data and using it to make better choices and better recommendations, to enable easier user interfaces and simpler engagement in comparison to just applications from a few years ago. Take an easy example from Sheets. Has anybody ever used Explore in Sheets? So you can literally click the little microphone button and say, how many times did tomatoes outsell watermelons on Tuesdays? If that's what your spreadsheet has data about, it will build the formula for you and give you the answer. Show it to you in charts and graphs, show you all the different comparisons that you might make. I've seen some of the formulas that people say to their computer when they're not limited by how many they know how to type. Man, people ask way better questions. They're able to really get engaged in understanding their data instead of just sort of, well, I know how to do plus and minus in a spreadsheet, so that's as hard a question as I'll ask. All of these innovations across all these different products are powered by an open source framework at Google called TensorFlow. If you look, even in 2012, Google engineers required, a PhD in computer science, a couple PhDs in mathematics, real handy with C. You have to be a bona fide hacker to build yourself a competent machine learning model. You need very advanced skills. As a result of packaging those skills into pre-built model construction frameworks like TensorFlow, we've made it so that you can write a little bit of Python and get a model done. We have a training course that's happening today. It lasts several hours. At the end of it, you will have functioning machine learning models. That's a lot better. And that's why Google was able to build machine learning end-to-end into each of its services, because we've made it way easier. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you build with those technologies, because they are really easy to use. But we're not done at all. Software is just the beginning of that. Right? It turns out in order to build machine learning systems at scale, you have to do a huge amount of vector calculus. And modern computers, modern processors are very, very general purpose devices. They can do all sorts of math, but they're not as fast as they could be if they were built only to do machine learning. So the picture at the top is actually the third version of totally custom Google-designed processors called tensor processing units. Devices specifically optimized just for doing machine learning math. So if in your data center you're in the middle of just working out how to apply TensorFlow on the laptop you've got, we're on our third custom processor for doing that work. Our competitors aren't anywhere close. They don't have the same workload that Google does. Remember those 8 products that serve 1 billion users? We need these chips for us. And so I have them available for you. I'm really excited about what you're going to be able to build on top of this kind of differentiated hardware that, again, is 15 to 30 times as fast and wins every price performance comparison we can put against them in comparison to what's available worldwide. So there are 3 ways to use machine learning with Google Cloud. First, you can build TensorFlow models and have us execute them on your behalf. That's a service called Cloud Machine Learning Imaging, or Cloud Machine Learning Engine, or Cloud ML Engine. That means your data and your insights, your patterns, your models, but our operations experience, our scalability expertise, our networking, our compute, our storage, without any configuration or setup on your side. For a lot of companies to get started, even that sounds complicated. So we've built a set of machine learning models that you can use immediately. If you have JavaScript developers that know how to talk to an API, you can send me a picture and I can send you back what's in it. You can send me an audio file and I will say what's being said. I can translate it language to language. I can extract the meaning from it. I know what's going on inside a video. We have superpowers, people, and you can code against them this afternoon. It's really an incredible step forward. And if even that sounds like it's not close enough to what your business needs, we've invented what we think is the next generation of machine learning technology in AutoML. AutoML is a system that takes this relatively complicated traditional machine learning workflow where you work through data acquisition, you do all of this manual exploration, you evaluate the different model formats that might be salient. What if we built a machine learning model for building machine learning models? What if we just threw more computers at the problem instead of forcing all of us to become PhD machine learning experts? So AutoML, you just hand us the data, and we hand you back a model that works. It's pretty magic. So we're really excited about what that can do. The first of these has been built around vision, and I'm excited for you to see a demonstration of what this is going to look like. Everybody, please help me welcome to the stage Prakar Gautam, who's going to show us AutoML in action. Prakar. Awesome.
All right. Can you switch to my screen, please? All right, awesome. So my name is Prakhar, and I am a custom engineer with Google Cloud. And let me provide some context as far as this demo is concerned. Right, so let's imagine that you are trying to build an application which extracts some information out of images. Right, for reference, think about what Google Photos will do for you. Right? So rather than going through plethora of photographs in your gallery, you can just go ahead and say, show me all the photographs where I'm wearing, for example, a red T-shirt. Right? So Google will do its thing behind the scenes and hopefully will give out relevant results. Right? So just imagine that you're trying to build something on similar lines. Now, if you're trying to do something on these lines, you are in luck because there are already available models that are loaned out as services that will do this for you today. So if you're working with Google Cloud, then we have something called as Cloud Vision API. Okay? So the drill is very, very simple. You show it a photograph, and it will tell you what it sees inside a photograph. So in this case, for example, it is 98% sure that it is looking at a T-shirt which is blue in color. Okay? Now, it doesn't just work with labels, but it also will do a bunch of other things. For example, object detection, face detection, emotions detection, and also extract text out of your images. But let's take one step forward. Let's assume that you are trying to build an e-commerce-like application where you need to classify things. And the information that is given out by Vision API is not good enough. Right? So it tells me that it's a T-shirt, but I want to figure out whether it's a collar T-shirt or a round neck T-shirt, what's the brand, whether it has half sleeves or full sleeves and things like that. Now, Vision API will not give you ready-made information out of box. So what do you do? So there are 2 ways. The harder way is to go ahead and write your own models. Easier said than done. right? Because you have to write your own models, you bring data, and then you go through the painful, tedious, iterative process of training and retraining your model. That's where Google can help. And that's where you can actually bring your data and start customizing our Vision API for your own data, for your own particular use cases, right? So let's see how it goes. So I have, for this particular demonstration, I have an example. Oops. I have an example which hopefully will resonate with the room. So we are trying to do classification as far as clouds are concerned. So given the condition of weather in Mumbai, hopefully this resonates. So I have a bunch of images which are already labeled. So let's take a look at the labeled images. Let me show you the most commonly found clouds in sky, which are called cirrus. So these are the usual clouds that get formulated in atmosphere. And there is something called as altostratus, right? Altostratus is not good news. They are usually accompanied by thunderstorms, and they bring in a lot of rain and snow. They're probably what we are facing in Mumbai right now. So from your point of view, what you got to do is upload your photographs or your images and create a CSV. Now, CSV will be very, very simple. So image 1 has label 1. Image 2 has label 2, image 3 has label 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Once you have all of that data, then your UI will essentially start looking like this. Once you have all the data, the next step is you go ahead and start training your models. So again, this comes in two flavors. One is base model, one is advanced model. So base model is, you can actually get started with base model with as few as 10 images. And for advanced models, we require you to show us more data because you are expecting better efficiencies, right? So once all of this, well, you go ahead and select which kind of model do you want, and then you go ahead and train the model. Now this will take time, so as you can imagine, I've already have these things done. So once the training is done, this is where the model, how did the model perform, will get shown as part of the Evaluate tab. Now, when you're uploading some training data, it usually gets split into multiple data sets. So one is your training data set, and one is your validation data set. So the confusion matrix will essentially tell you how did your trained model do on the validation data set. So what we're looking for is a strong diagonal. Right? So this model was correctly able to predict 73% of Cyrus's images. Right? It didn't do so well with autocumulus. Now, right from the UI, you can actually see what went wrong as far as training is concerned. Right? So it will classify all the images and bucket them together so that you can find out which are the images that the model found most confusing. And again, right from the UI, I can actually click and say, next time I train you, this image is not autocumulus, but this is Cirrus. Okay, so right from the UI, you can undergo that iterative process. Once that is done, once you're sufficiently happy with your model, you can actually start prediction. So again, you can predict online, or you can do it through command line, you can do it through your client libraries, or you can do it through APIs, right? So let's do it online for the time being. So I'll go ahead and select a cloud, and then I do prediction. And voila, it's 77% sure that it is looking at cumulonimbus, right? So again, at the risk of sounding repetitive, you can bring your own data and start writing your own custom models without even having to write a single line of code, right? This is how AutoML works. That's what I wanted to show. Miles, back to you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Machine learning models, no code, pretty easy, pointedy clickety. And you get value out the other side. I don't know, man, from 8 years ago being indistinguishable from the most difficult kind of computer science to poke, poke, click, click. That is a pretty great benefit that you provide here, and only here. One of the places where intelligence is making a really big impact is in the Internet of Things, is in the huge profusion of sensors and devices that are now connected to the Internet. Organizations are able to build totally new innovative services on top of Google Cloud without having to do all of the work of assembling that end-to-end pipeline for managing what in some cases can be, like we're looking at here, billions of devices. Billions. If you look at what we've delivered in IoT, right, how we make it so that you can build connected things that are able to learn, that are connected to these kinds of automatic machine learning services, you need not only a service for capturing the data, for gathering and bringing that data into your system, but the whole data and analytics platform that allows you to process that data in real time and deliver insights either back to that same device or to your central systems that are making choices for downstream actions. It's that full ecosystem that allows you to build systems that are powerful, as opposed to you being responsible for gluing together a bunch of pieces and parts that maybe weren't designed from scratch to work together. So we built some new services that make this very easy, a thing called Cloud IoT Core, which is a fully managed service that allows you to easily and securely connect, configure, manage, and ingest data from millions of globally dispersed devices using totally standardized protocols, open protocols. So there's nothing proprietary, nothing custom to Google. You're just able to build using totally standards compliant topologies in a way that allows you to scale anywhere in the world. That allows you to build for real time, which we think is one of the big barriers to bringing those next magical experiences to customers. I'll give maybe an example. How many folks have heard of Vagabond? They run a huge network of vending machines around the world. By using our IoT core systems, they're able to measure those vending machines. They now have a system for capturing data out of those tools to make sure they understand what's happening. Are they empty? Are they missing systems? Have they been damaged? What was the last time they got refilled? All that data, instead of being manually tracked, is now totally automatic, centrally available. And the result is that they're earning more money, get more profit. They're able to reduce the amount of labor. They don't go refill a vending machine if it's already full, because they can tell it's already full. They're not waiting for data. They're not inefficient because of a lack of access to data. That's what IoT Core and other tools from Cloud Platform can deliver. Another example, the folks at Cognite. They've built a system that's processing 500,000 events per second. Right? They're doing something that in other environments would either cost an enormous amount of money and operations. You'd need a huge physical infrastructure. On us, it's 50 times faster than their previous infrastructure. 50 times. That enables them to take the next step forward, to have lower production outages, to be able to deliver a much more compelling experience to their downstream customers. It's those kinds of benefits. These are 2 case studies. Our page has hundreds of them. You can absolutely see businesses here in India and around the world that are taking incredible benefit from the platform that I'm talking about. I'm really excited to see your company be the next one of these slides. It takes 50 days, right? So, I think that you can use our tools and our platform to navigate this brave new world of artificial intelligence and machine learning and the Internet of Things. All these new technologies, they don't have to be a disruptor, a ray gun pointed at your business. They can be a new opportunity, a new path forward to capturing value. Really excited to have my team, Solutions Architecture, the broader Google Cloud team, and everybody that's here today, from our code labs through our quick labs and the boot camps. All these different services are all here to help you navigate to this great next step. I'm super excited about that. But we've got a lot more to show. So I'm really happy to invite to the stage a good friend of mine. Lakshmi is one of our brand new product managers. She's going to do a great job of walking you through what's happening around our systems. Please, everybody, welcome to the stage, Lakshmi Sharma.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming here and listening to us. You know, it was interesting that Miles and I know each other at least for 5 months. That's when I joined Google Cloud. And he talked about, like, you know, how he looks like a drummer, I guess. And then I was thinking, I'm like, other than my engineering and MBA degree, I'm also a classically trained dancer. So, you know, it's pretty strategic of Google to hire people like who are both left brain and right brain trained. Like, you know, I guess imagination and innovation need to go together. So what you heard so far is that you have built a foundation of trust. We are using data, and then we are offered that in intelligence out of the data back to the enterprises, back to the consumers. so that you can use it towards your advantage. And now what we are going to talk about is that how you can invest into innovation so that you can transform your work. And can you just transform your work without really enabling your people? In order to enable people, in order to enable and give it in their hands, you really need tools and you really need strategies that can make them comfortable, so that they can spend time in areas which matter to your organization, but it starts from people. It starts from people bringing the data that they have, the institutional knowledge, and then all the tribal knowledge that is spread across the organization. And let's talk about an organization which is global. You're talking about leveraging all the data which is sitting in different parts of your organization, bringing the data together, using a platform, but bringing the tools that your developers, your application developer, your team is most comfortable in using. So what are the tools that can bring that together? So that's the power of bringing productivity tools like G Suite. G Suite is the only business productivity tool that is bringing your people, application, and data together. Because it is about a transformation not of technology, not just of technology. It's really transformation of people. People that you have been training for years, who understand your business, who understand the technology, but you need to enable them, and that's how you do that. You need to be able to offer that tools, and then you need to offer that platform at the gigantic global scale. Global scale that you heard from Miles, which is spread across billions of users around the globe with infrastructure that is secure. And then you bring just applications, and you bring tools to manage those applications on that infrastructure. So that's what G Suite offers. It brings you the collaboration tools. It brings your entire workforce together so that you can bring that data in different parts of your organization to the best use of everyone. The way you can make every individual in your team productive, the way you can, and is the place where you will be able to exponentially increase the productivity of your organization. So each individual will be enabled when they have access to every other individual in the organization and access to every part of the data in the seamless manner at the click of a button or at the click of an API. And that's what we offer through G Suites like collaboration tools and the product suites. So data suggests by 2020, 50% of the global workforce would be remote, working remote, or maybe just the organization will be remote. So when you're talking about that scale of the remote workforce, you really need a platform that can enable you to connect at that scale. So our customers' experience, and we are fortunate that we have one of our customers who will share that story with you. Our customers' experience that it's really transformative journey. Transformative journey from a people experience perspective, from the ease of use perspective. Transformation doesn't just come from that, hey, Mr. Customer, you had the control. You used to decide what tools and what partners to choose, and now we are here as your vendor, and we are here, but we will take the control, and we will take your partnerships. That's not how transformation comes in. Transformation comes in by enabling you, by bringing the partners, by bringing the ecosystem that you want, but taking away the tooling, taking away the automation at the scale of your organization, and enabling you to be the billion-user company or 8 billion consumer interaction company in coming years, or maybe today, because we are doing that today for ourselves and many customers. So innovation, and what else is a part of innovation? So innovation comes from two parts. Like one is experience, and that we bring in with platforms like G Suite and other things that you will hear and you have heard from us. Innovation in infrastructure, investment in experience in security, investment in experience in ML, and all the data analytics that we have been doing. So all that innovation we bring to you, we bring that through our experience. But why? Because we want you to continue to imagine. The imagination that can only come from your workforce, the imagination will come from your workforce when they are not focusing on operationalizing the tools, different tools in different part of the organization, but they can simply forget that because it has been taken care of them from the experience that you can trust, from the experience that is secure for you. So let's take a look at an example of G Suite, how G Suite can enable cloud workers to transform how they work. And with that, I will invite on stage my colleague, Shaista, who will be showing us how the journey can happen for your workers too. Hi, Shaista.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shaista Alia. I'm the customer engineer at Google. And I'll just quickly set up my laptop and yep, we're good. So I hope my screen is visible to everyone. And today I'm going to show you what a day in my life looks like. So when I come to office, I open my email, which is on my browser. I don't have to wait for anything to load. I'll quickly go ahead and start reading all the unread emails. So I have an email by Susan. She's asking me whether Tuesday or Monday works for a team building activity. I can see smart replies visible here. So these are these 3 quick responses which I can use. Let's do Tuesday. I can send that, go back to my inbox, look at another email. So Susan sent me a presentation as well. This presentation again is available as part of the G Suite. I can quickly say, awesome, thanks for the update, and send that across. I've got another email from Jeff, and he's asking me whether I'd like to join the meeting that he's having with the creative agency. I can quickly ask him what time is he referring to. And again, Susan sent me a job description, and she's, like she says, she's incorporated my comments as well. So this is again a Google Doc on which we worked real time, collaborating on the same single source of truth, and of course putting in our comments in the meanwhile and incorporating any changes that were possible. So I will reply to that. Looks good to me. And go back to my inbox. So I can see something which says urgent feedback needed. Let me open that. Okay, you can see here that I've got a security notification stating that Mike Chang is similar to a name in my organization, but the email address does not match. Right here you can see that it's from his personal email ID. So also this could be a phishing attempt, wherein I can go and report this as phishing. For right now, I'll just choose not to reply to it. Now moving ahead, I have another email by Mike Chang from my domain itself. And he's asked me for submitting ideas for an innovation summit that's happening. So quickly, on my right-hand side, you can see I have Google Keep, which is my note-taking application, which is available as part of G Suite. I can open Keep, and you can see that it has been linked to the email already. So I can take down a note saying idea 1, and that's it. And this note will be available across all devices, not just my laptop. It will be available on my phone as well. Now going back, in correspondence to this email, if I want to go ahead and set up a meeting invite, I can add certain guests. I can edit this in Google Calendar. You can see the subject line of the meeting invite is already picked up from the email. I've added Jeff. I can add Susan as well. I can add a meeting room for this brainstorming session. I can go back and look at suggested times. So the system automatically, again, Google Calendar, just like Miles was mentioning earlier, it has artificial intelligence built in. So it will be able to give me suggested times where all participants are available. So for example, 1:30 p.m. today, all participants can attend. I can select that. And I can go ahead and save it. Now switching back to my email, if I want to go ahead and compose an email from scratch, I will add Jeff, and this can probably be about the brainstorming session. So you can see Smart Compose, which is giving me suggestions to type out my email. Hi, Jeff. Thanks for joining the meeting. Let's connect next week. Feel free to reach out. Any questions? I get a suggestion again. I can say thanks. Again, I get a suggestion. And that's it. So I was able to, if I send this email across, as you can see, within 5 minutes, I was able to read all my emails. I was able to look through a document, look through a presentation, create some notes on the side, create a meeting invite, and of course, start an email from scratch and send it out using Smart Compose option. And that took me only about 5 minutes. So that's it from my end, and back to you, Lakshmi.
Okay. So thank you so much, Shaista. She said 5 minutes, but the time she was given was 4 minutes, 30 seconds, so it was less than that. As I said, like I'm still new to Google, like it's my 5th month, and I've used Google, G Suite and some of these tools before as a just end consumer, not as an enterprise user, but they're just mind-boggling the power of these, tools. Everything is just so integrated. Especially the Gmail features that you saw, like the smart reply and all of them, when they came, I was also like, one of those, I would say, apprehensive about artificial intelligence users. And I'm even in technology a few minutes ago, I'm thinking, oh my God, I will forget my English. Like, if I start kind of, saying just the tab and then start accepting that. But it's really just taking away the common, phrases that you would use. You still will be using your brain to kind of respond to those things. So it's really very well integrated. It's just so phenomenal. What you heard from the previous, milestone, that AI and ML is in everything. We just kind of take away the operational overheads wherever it is, and something which is mundane task is not necessarily kind of contributing towards your business growth. So yeah, that's fantastic. So real-time collaboration in G Suite. So what you saw that we talked about like how you go to an email, you send an email, and then you talk about a topic, and then you just start a document there. And it's really brilliant. If you come to Google Office, and some of you who already are using G Suite, we just kind of get into a meeting. Everybody's just typing, doing plus Lakshmi, plus ABC, and then our culture is very, very open. You can just say plus Urs, plus Sundar. We are very, very open that way. So, and everybody just gets kind of notified right there. You just respond to that. It's part of the email. It's fantastic. You don't really have to even worry about how do I save my versions. Oh, it's not like those collaboration tool where you will be thinking about, oh, every time I update a document, it does save the previous copy. You don't even have to worry about it. You will get entire history automatically. You don't have to worry about sharing with people. You just go and click and look into the information, share it with people anytime. You work with vendors, you work with partners. Using the same method, you don't have to change your working style in just collaborating and using these tools. So this is really phenomenal. Saves away so much on productivity so that you can really work together as a team in same room or virtually and use those documents. Really, really powerful. So Hangouts Meet, you saw like an example of how, just using the Gmail, and through that, everything that is connected like Hangout and then Jamboard and everything. So Hangout, it's like Hangout version of both video and the audio versions of it. It's so easy to use. You just go to a room, you just say click, and then you put your name, Lakshmi, and then it just shows up and pops up on your video. And then the same link goes to a user who doesn't have video access, also have your phone number based enablement. It's just simple. You can just talk here, similar to the sheet example that you saw. You don't have to remember any codes. You don't have to remember long links. You can just use a phrase, click, and it just connects people all over the world. Like, it's so simple. And through the means that is easy, your manner, the manner in which you are used to, whether it is phone, mobile, desktop, or a video, very simple to use. So Jamboard, that's, I'm pretty sure a lot of you must have used like whiteboarding or digital boards. But what's unique about Jamboard? So it's like, think of it as another device, which is acting as a user too. Like a user who's participating in the conversation, a user which is visible to everybody else in the room. So it's part of the conversation. You can save the conversation. You're just sitting in a room with a Jamboard. You go and do the whiteboarding. Whiteboarding gets saved, and it gets used as a document. You can come back to it and start from that whiteboard conversation where you were. So it's not a whiteboard which somebody will wipe off, and then, information is gone. Again, very powerful for something where you just kind of want to brainstorm and want to leverage that brainstorming and the ideation that you have in that room over to future conversations. So this is, one of the customers you might have seen earlier in Rick's presentation of partners too. So Airbus, they decided to make this investment with us. So for them, the bullet that I really like here is that investment in our people. So, as I started with, it's investment in the people that we talk about. It's the investment so that those are the people who understand your business. We can bring technology, we can bring infrastructure, we can bring experience, but the people who really need investment are the people of your own company or of your own organizations. So that's where tools like G Suite and all that ecosystem that you saw, enabling, making it easy, transforming, and that's what we offer through all these collaboration tools that we have. So another example of how easy that collaboration is, and sometimes even the people who have the data, but if they're not fast enough in processing the data and have not the right set of tools, they may be behind in terms of how they can present that information. So in May 2017, US House of Representatives voted on a very, very important healthcare bill. So while, and the voting system is it's pretty live, reporters will go while, voting is going on, they will display it on the board, the votes come up, reporters go and start taking notes, and then they will send it back to the headquarters, and in this case, New York Times, and then New York Times will process the data and present it. But in this particular case, so the reporters went in, they were collecting the information, they put it in the Sheet, you saw the advantages of Sheet, and then Sheet has a very good integration with APIs. So through that API integration into Sheet, the information which was being collected in one location, processed by API team or IT team in another part, was within within a time duration of minutes, it was going to New York Times site. So US State, the team and the set of the people who are making the decisions, those people who should have presented that information, just because of the technologies and the tools, were not the people who posted that. It was New York Times, where millions of people who were waiting for that information, they were just jumping onto the site. So that's the kind of power, it goes all the way from federal to, finance. Doesn't matter what industry you're talking about, doesn't matter what are the manners and your compliances you come from, but it's the power of people, and then we enable that through our collaboration suites. So you heard about 4 million G Suite users. And then to conclude, what I'm going to say that we do have this power of 4 million, already paying enterprise customers, but that's not just enough. We talk about billions of consumers, and we want you to be that organization. Come with us through this journey of G Suite and transformation. And then after hearing from more stories here, from some of the customers that you will be coming here, I hope and I encourage you all to take that journey with us if you have not started, and then come and join us on that journey. So with that, I would now like to invite on stage Mr. Dubashi, who goes as Didi, who is Managing Director and CEO at L&T Finance Limited, to share their work and experience with G Suite. Thank you so much. Okay, so Didi, so thanks for chatting with me there,
Thank you.
and then
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much. Why don't you just say a few things about you, and then we'll get into the Q&A.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Didi, as she said, and a non-technocrat. I head a company which does financing, which is in various financing products. I'll talk about it. My CTO is not here. I'm standing in for him. So I will not talk about technology, but I will talk about how we went through a transformation journey using technology. And I'm one of those people who doesn't understand technology, but have very clear faith that companies can indeed transform totally using that. So a little bit about L&T Finance. We are a subsidiary of Larsen & Toubro. At least most Indians here would have heard of that company. if not of my company. Larsen and Toubro Finance is a little bit like a son of a very successful father, which was not successful, who was not successful for a long time. I mean, we have many examples, right? I mean, somebody like Rohan Gavaskar, how we would have felt at some point of time, right? So we were we were feeling a bit like that. We listed in 2011. We listed at a market cap of $1.5 billion and stayed largely there for 5 years. And 2 years back, we saw this need that we are not doing well at all, and we need to change. And change we did. We formed a very simple strategy. The strategy is over in actually 2 sentences, that we will work for maximizing the value of our shareholders through right businesses, right structure, and right people. That's all. The strategy over. End of strategy. We like to keep things simple. We reduced our number of products from 25. We reduced it to 5 businesses, and those are the products that you can see on the screen, structured around 5 businesses. We are in infrastructure finance, which does projects of close to 2,000 crores, 3,000 crores, 10,000 crores. We are in housing finance, which gives loans of 40 to 50 lakhs of rupees, that's 4 to 5 million rupees. And then we are in rural finance, where we give loans from 5 lakh rupees to even 10,000 and 20,000 rupees to buy a cow or a goat. And hence we are a company which is across these products, clearly believe that we should be in very limited number of products and take leadership positions, at least in the country, in India, in all these products. And we have been able to do that over the last 2 years. We are in the top 3 in most of these products, most, not all, and most definitely perhaps the most profitable in many of those products. The second part of the strategy, which is right structure, we have simplified our structure. We were a plethora of subsidiaries. We have reduced those. We have broken down lots of silos, which most companies work with. And last but not the least, right people. We started with believing and demonstrating that accountability starts at the top. And there are many examples of that. I can see the clock ticking. I'm not going to get into the details there. But most importantly, put our people where we earn our bread from, that is in the branches. So our branch to head office ratio was about 10:1. Today it is close to 20:1. So for every 1 person in head office, there are 20 in the branch. We are totally about 17,000 people. And I'm waiting for your next question.
Wow.
To tell how technology has helped in putting all this together. But suffice it to say that what we are today has, other than the name, everything is different than what we were 2 years back. And as a result, market cap, which was 2 years back, $1.5 billion, is today a little bit more than $5 billion. So that
Oh my God.
has moved in 2 years. Yeah.
I should have given him my talk. Like you really talked about structure and people and transformation and then organization, breaking the silos. So brilliant. Like, this is awesome. So you covered what were the key elements that influenced your decision to choose Google Cloud as your partner as you transform the future
That's good. Okay. So let me not talk specifically on Google Cloud immediately. I'll come to that. I am at a Google event, so I'll talk about Google Cloud. But,
Thank you.
What's important is actually you go through the strategy, right? When you say right products, when you are in few products, you need to continuously improve your competitive advantage. All the while, every minute, because nothing is secret. People will copy. I think in your area, you know it very well. In every area, people will copy, and you have to always be ahead of the competition, faster. So today, a product which we used to take, say, 4 hours to underwrite, today we do it in less than 10 seconds. It has to be technology enabled when we move in that direction. But more importantly, the change is constant. I call it constant whitewaters, and hence any technology partner that we partner with should be with us, should not tie us down with technology of yesterday, and they should tell us what is possible for tomorrow, rather than what is not possible on their platform. So that's the first one. Second, when we talk right structure, so we collapsed companies. We still do have many subsidiaries, but still work as one. And hence, any technology structure or licensing regime which binds us to legal entities, we will hate. Right? And last but not the least, people. You talked so well about how Google Cloud can enable people working across the country. So today we have close to 16,000 people around. We have just about 200 branches, but we believe that every person with a mobile is a branch. And so we do business from the dealers from each village, and each person with a mobile is our branch. So in a way, I have got 16,000 sales points. Then we were looking for a technology partner who will advise us, but not tell us how to do things, or more importantly, what I cannot do. Which we found a combination of all three in Google. And yeah, that's why we chose Google. It saved money too.
Very good. So, round of applause for that. Like so much of 16,000 plus people, so 20:1 ratio. So that the point here is that those are the people who should be investing in business, and that's what you're doing, right? So you just enable. Awesome. So, and I guess you did touch upon it. Explain how you're leveraging technology in a way that is helping you to kind of go towards future.
Yeah, again, my chief technology officer is not a technology man. His background is he was a captain in Indian Army.
Oh.
Right? And he's my CTO, because I'm very scared of people who fall in love with technology. Yeah, I'm a blue-blood. I've grown up as a blue-blooded Bombay guy, and you don't fall in love with technology, right? There are many other better things to fall in love with.
Let us do that job, right? We will fall in technology, you fall in business.
And the technocrats, I'm sorry, I'm talking about perhaps many of you, keep pushing business. They buy a toy and then keep pushing business to accept, to take that toy on board, right? And that's where the problem was happening. I mean, even today, my organization, not today, maybe 2 years back, was a graveyard of systems which we have paid tons of money for and we're not using. Right? And hence, we started clearly from the other side, that you see the ROE tree, which is return on equity. And we said, okay, each item of the ROE tree, starting from collections and hence credit cost and a little bit, I have heard a lot of technological jargon which I didn't understand. So I'm going to give it back, talk a little bit of financial jargon which you will not understand. But let me, starting from credit cost, then onboarding cost, operations cost, and most importantly, how do I onboard customers? How do I select customers? How do I get that 1 basis point of difference of advantage over my competition every single day? How do I increase my ROA basis point by basis point every single day? We have changed our ROE from 9% to 15% in 2 years.
Wow.
And so that's 600 basis points increase. And so more or less 1 basis point a day. You have to actually think that and look at technology, how it will affect each one of these. I mean, I'll give you very simple examples, right? Today, 16,000 people, whether they come to work, whether they work, are they at the right place where they are supposed to be, was impossible. Today, I just track their latitude, longitude, and I know they are where they are supposed to be. I needed very strong branch management. Today, that work is done by a computer, and the computer actually gives a worksheet to people saying that, okay, today you have to do that, follow this route map, and I can track that route map and work on it. So very simple day-to-day things is where we are going. And the focus remains very financial, that this is the ROE tree and how technology can be used to take advantage of, I'm a mercenary. I will not do anything. I will not invest in anything which will give me returns 10 years later. Most of the times, I mean, I've found that people who say that, today we invest and we will get back the returns in 10 years are largely talking nonsense, because technology changes every day, every month, and hence whatever you invest in should get you returns that year, perhaps next year. Definitely not 10 years. I am 52, I will retire in 8 years. So I'm not going to invest something which will get me returns after I retire.
Yeah. So what's your kind of next 2-year goal? So still like 1 basis point every day?
Yeah, largely in the same direction. I am not one who thinks of a different strategy every day. I don't get up in the morning and decide what to do today. It's a strategy which is there, and it is actually so fundamental that even today, when I am confused, I go back and look at the original 2 lines of strategy, and I find answers. And I must thank Google for enabling us to get many of those answers. I mean, truly without use of the technology which you have provided, I don't think many of the things which we take for granted today would have been possible. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And that's what we want to be, behind the scenes, so that business grows. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Okay, that was beautiful. So technology just stays in the background, and that's what we wanted. We just come now and then on stages like that so that we can bring people like him to talk about their businesses. So that's brilliant. Going from platform of trust, we talked about data, unleashing data to kind of help with decision making, and then we went into how do we transform workplace, and then how do we enable people. And the next step is then, when we talk about people, we are talking about those people working on your applications, on your services. So, and then entire ecosystem that comes with it, which is ecosystem of developers, their managers, and the money that is invested in building those applications. So how do we continue to enable the innovation in that ecosystem? What are their priorities? What matters to them? So when you think about an application developer, what matters is that I want to go fast. Oh, wow, this is such a cool toy, like we heard. Cool toy, cool technology. I want to use it. And then I want to use it in all my applications. But at the same time, I do not want to manage the operational hassles of it. I love to write code, and I enjoy writing this application. So then you're thinking about the management and the managers who are investing in that application. They say, oh, I have this huge investment of 10 years, 15 years. I want you to continue to use that investment while you're moving in forward direction, right? So how do you, and where are the common choices that they have? So one is thinking about speed. One is thinking about leveraging existing investment. But their collective goal they still want choices between them. I want to still be able to place it closer to my developers because it's easy for them. I want the choice of the machines that my developers want. As a leader, I do want to make it easier for them, and because they're the right decision maker about where the load should go, whether it should be VM, whether it should be a container, what cloud do I use, right? So all those choices. So giving all those choices at the scale you're talking about so that they can be productive. And what are the components we are talking about? We are talking about, hey, using VMs, so we offer through GCE, compute, then containers for, there are certain applications that work good with containers, bringing Kubernetes along. And then you're talking about platform as a service. So with developer ecosystem, bringing the development framework, bringing the programming languages they're good at, so that they can continue to build in their own environment. So offering that through platform as a service offerings that we have. And then serverless and cloud functions. So cloud functions, so those who come from VM and container world, it may be a little, it's a different paradigm shift, I would say. It's similar to, I would call it like when somebody, some of the organizations went from just hardware to software, then to virtualize, and now to cloud journey. Serverless is a kind of different, similar concept, but it really enables your developers because they can continue to write code. They want code to be triggered through some logic. The logic sits in one place, code sits in one place, it is secured through the infrastructure, it gets executed at the scale, at the place when you want, at the time. So that's what cloud functions offer you. So it enables your developers to continue to innovate and continue to develop at scale using the infrastructure that can just allow them and empower them to do that. So while you're doing that, as I said, you are talking about building newer applications, using newer infrastructures, but you still have to bring your legacy applications together, right? You have to be able to you're doing all this work, you're doing this investment so that your end users or your customers can get that experience. Their experience should not be disrupted. Technology disruption should not affect your users and your end consumers and customers. So that's where you kind of bring in that abstraction layer in front while you're migrating from your legacy to your new infrastructure. So we bring in APIs, we bring in the security and the registration and the management of this hybrid or of this legacy to new generation of applications and enterprise applications. So we offer the API ecosystem. We offer you products like Apigee, which puts the abstraction layer or the security layer in front so that your users and consumers continue to do business and it grows. They do not get their experience should not be disruptive, it should be enhanced. So this is an example, which is, so this is Walgreens, which is a pharma company in United States, which also acquired, Boots from Europe. So these two companies, so Walgreens is a customer of Apigee, and they use Apigee to drive more revenue into the stores. You will hear retail going, away from stores, the investment going more in digital and others, but how a company like Walgreens, a pharma company, that was able to generate more revenue and more traffic to the stores by enabling their partner ecosystem of uploading photo. The companies then, without just say Instagram, Flickr, using their API system, integrating them into the Apigee system, and then now suddenly you have access to more information, and then that photo business for Walgreens was able to drive more revenue into the store. So that's fantastic. In a world where retail is going away from stores because the business is declining, that business grew like 6x. And then, at the same time, using other APIs, so this is the power of API ecosystem, because you can bring your partners at the same speed at which your developers are moving, because it makes it easy for them to work. Not just your own workforce, this kind of ecosystem enables your partners to work at the same speed. So then the similar framework, but on the in-house side of the company, it enabled writing them logic and applications faster, which brought their mobile business of prescription filling to another completely new level. So which was around greater than 1 prescriptions per minute they were able to kind of get because of the API ecosystem that they built in. So now we talked about developers bringing different kinds of workloads, and we have given them choices. We have given them this API framework, which will still keep the user experience consistent. But when you give those choices, and you're allowing them to build applications wherever they are in the globe, whether it is on-prem, off-prem, cloud, you do want to avoid lock-ins, because that kind of just goes with the definition of it. By enabling global means you're making them open. You're enabling them through you're enabling them through technologies and giving them simple ways of deployment, giving them simple ways of automating. So that just goes with the definition of being global and being multi-cloud and being hybrid and making the legacy to new generation of application transformation. So, and then how do we offer that? So when we talk about containers, so there are billions of containers being deployed or brought up to life or life cycle every week. Like I said, it's around 4 to 5 billion containers every week for running our own infrastructure applications. So containers management and orchestration, that started at Google from get-go, from day zero. And our entire infrastructure runs on a container management system called Borg, which eventually became Kubernetes. So now we are talking about a large ecosystem and Kubernetes momentum that is coming with it. And imagine so last year, there were 335,000 Git pulls just on Kubernetes, and there was huge amount of KubeCon and a lot of participation from open source from all around the world in different companies. And in fact, our competition is investing, and they're showing a lot of revenue in this space because we have invested. We want that open ecosystem to be enabled, and we want our developers and our companies to be our enterprise customers to be able to leverage all that investment that we make, whether it is in API system, whether it is in container systems. So Kubernetes last year 35,000 pulls, and it was just next to Linux, and how many of you know that Linux, which is so pervasive, which is so, it's everywhere in every single, organization or technology that we use. It took the initial, ramp up of Linux took like around approximately 10 years. And then now we are talking about this growth, which is just next to Linux in just 2 years. So 54% of the enterprises which have been surveyed and around the world, they have already adopted it. I would say, very with a lot of pride that not all of them are really on GCP or they're not all using GKE, but that's what we bring in. We want your developers to be unleashing their potential regardless of where they are. We offer you technologies. We believe in open source. We believe in hybrid. We want this to happen. Cloud would not happen if we just do not enable this ecosystem all the way from developers to deployment to operation so that businesses can continue to run regardless of where you are, where data-wise, where location-wise, or just in your journey of application migration. So, GKE, which is our managed Kubernetes, yes, we talk about open source because we do invest, we do believe around, whether it is machine learning, whether it is Kubernetes containers or languages like Go, Golang, Lua, all those things that Google has, open source in past. What else can you get? Like if you come to Google Cloud, GKE, which is a managed Kubernetes offering from us, if once you learn how to deploy containers using Kubernetes and bring your workload from on-prem or some other cloud maybe, and then bring it to GCP or GKE, and you can leave all the logging, monitoring, operationalization to us, and you can get your data. You can do your logging, your troubleshooting in the very fastest possible way because we will use our analytic engine. We will use our machine learning to provide you the best insight into your data so that you can only focus on building your applications and managing your applications and services. So coming to services, you need VMs, you need all this infrastructure, containers, but the end goal is that you really want to run your services, right? So you want your services to be done in a scalable way. You want just the services to be just managed because without any operational overhead. But security is really important when you talk about, it doesn't matter what part of the organization you are, which vertical you are in. And Istio is that tool, another open source. Istio is that another technology that brings in security as fundamentally as part of the services framework because it brings in a network proxy which kind of does all the service security management for you. Another advantage to your developers. So your developers can still continue to code regardless of the type of the compute or type of the infrastructure you choose. And then your security administrators, SecOps, who are really good in managing your security, they can also continue to run at the same speed as your developers are. So we are bringing all roles together, not just developers, not their managers, or not just the business side and operations. We are bringing your security administration, your network administration, looking at each of those angles and continuously open sourcing it, building ecosystem around it, so that other cloud providers can also bring that framework to you and bring that journey, be part of that open source journey with us. So in addition to the, bringing between security of your services, you also want visibility, right? So how do you know whether my applications are secure? How do I debug them? How do I know that whether they're running like at the right speed and at the right place? So Istio also offers you that visibility framework in addition to the security that it brings. And you're doing all of that because you want to make sure that your traffic is running through, your traffic through the applications is secure, is being managed at the scale, and reaching the right users with the right identity. So all of that gets integrated pretty well in this framework called Istio. And the journey continues. So when we think about digital, and we talk a lot about digital transformation, your business transformation with digital, this is not the first time that there is a disruption happening, right? So going all the way from human computing, analog computing, went to digital. So this is not just one aha moment. Didi kind of, he mentioned in his talk, and he was, change is normal, change is continuum. So what we want you to be enabled with is to have your workforce, have all of you being adjusted to the fact that change is normal. And then that will happen only when you do not have to worry about the impact of the change on the things that do not matter to your business. So we want you to partner with us in that journey. We want you to be able to make your decisions about where do you divest, where do you invest, so that you can innovate in the right place. And we want you to bring in Google Cloud in that journey. These are really, really exciting times. After digital transformation, which really got enabled through the cloud and all the tools and processes that came along, cloud is your innovation tool. Cloud is the driver. And Google Cloud does offer you that. We want to offer you that investment into innovation because we have huge experience of driving it. We are technocrats who really, and we have run businesses of all those 8 applications that drive like billions of dollars of business and enable billions of consumers around the world. We want to bring all that knowledge to you so that you just be enabled. You just only worry about, not so much about change being a disruptor, change being kind of really changing everything and how you work and behave. We really want you to be able to take this trusted platform, the data, all these things we talked about, so that you are able to make your decisions. You're able to make intelligent decisions about your business. Give us that opportunity. Take that opportunity. Allow us to be part of the growth that you are. I would love to hear more of those stories in in 70 days, we did this change. In 53 days, we went from this much of petabytes of information from one place to another. And then and if we have more people where we just talk about, I'm only worried about my business and I can do that with Google Cloud, that's exactly we want to hear more stories for. So we allow us to be part of that journey, allow us to be part of those stories that we will build here, right here. And please reach out to anybody here from Google Cloud and continue to work with us. Give us that opportunity. Use our tools, use our cloud. Use innovation, which is through our experience, but please bring your imagination. That's what we really want. So thank you so much, and have a great. So now I'm going to introduce another friend of mine, Mariku, who's going to give you a very cool demo on IoT. Hi. Thank you.
Namaste Mumbai. How's everybody? Doing okay? You have coffee, tea? Good. My name is Markku. I'm a solution architect, which means that I'm a geek. Yes. And I also like to build things. I like to build weird and wonderful solutions. So when I heard that I will be coming here to see all of you, I wanted to build something specifically for you. So I love mithai. Who loves mithai? Yes, I love mithai, sometimes too much. But I'm slightly confused about the mithai. I'm slowly learning. I can see some barfi. I see some peda. I think that's gulab jamun, but I'm not sure. It's slightly too yellow. So I was thinking, remember how Miles said earlier, Cloud Auto ML, pointy, clicky, clicky, value comes out? So I was thinking, can I build something with Auto ML to detect mithai? So I started with my Raspberry Pi 3 like I always do because I am the IoT guy. So it's here. It has a camera, simple camera, and I'm a really crappy coder. So it has like 200 lines of Python code, yay, that I wrote. That's it. All the magic happens with Cloud Auto ML. So what I did was, a week ago in Singapore where I live, I went to Little India and I bought some mithai. Then I was in our office and I was scanning those. I was taking pictures of my mithai so we can see there's besan ladu, there's my kaju katli, there's kesar peda. Yes. Oh, not too bad for Finnish guy, right? But you want to know what was the main risk of this event. As I was training Cloud AutoML with my mid-high, I turn around, my dear, lovely friend and colleague Reza was eating my training data. I was like, no, Reza, bad Reza, stop. You are risking the entire Cloud Summit. Luckily, he couldn't finish his training data munching, so I was able to train the system in 10 minutes. So how does it actually work? I have my mid-high right here on the stage. We have a Raspberry Pi. We take a picture of the mid-high. We send this picture of PEDA, in this case, to AutoML, to my model that I built for you, and I get back a label like PEDA. But because it's in English and we are not in England now, I'm sending it to Translation API, and we get back PEDA in Hindi. And then we display PEDA, right? Then I send it to Speech API, and we get back a wonderful voice provided by Google AI saying PEDA. And then we play that back using the Raspberry Pi sound card. So let's now switch to my demo and see how it looks like. Clickety-click, and demo switch. All right, just a second. There we go. So now we are in the Raspberry Pi, and I start my app that I wrote for you guys. There we go. So now we are looking at the Raspberry Pi, and let me show that I can show you here. So if we see what the camera sees, it's way too dark. You're there? Yes, you're there. All right. So now, let's switch this app to
Cloud AutoML.
So now my Raspberry Pi, the camera here, if it takes a picture, it calls our mid-high detector AutoML custom model. So let's see what we have here. We have here on the table a yummy, a mid-high. There we go. We take a picture of that. Goes to Cloud AutoML, Translation API, Speech API, and
Kesar PEDA.
Yes. Yes, Kesar PEDA. All right, I think this is a laddu. One of the laddus that Reza didn't eat. He ate 2 of them so far.
Besan laddu.
Yeah, laddu. All right, 2 more. I think that's a kaju katli. Let's see if AutoML agrees with me.
Kaju katli.
Yes. 1 more. I have my kaju roll here. After the show is over, I'm going to eat this kaju roll. I've been looking at it for 2 days.
Kaju roll.
Yay, there you go. All right. So this took me 1 day to build, even though I had to fight off my colleague who was trying to eat the training data. So that shows you how quick it is to build value with Cloud AutoML. Thank you very much. So now, let's switch back, and I'd love to introduce on stage my neighbor in the office who did not eat my laddu. Amruta, please come up on stage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amruta Joshi, and I lead the Strategic Cloud Engineering team for the Japan Asia Pacific region. Before we begin, what did you guys think about that demo? Pretty cool, yeah? Yeah, I personally was really happy to see my favorite sweet, the kaju roll, being recognized, because it can be confused for the pista roll, but ML got it right, so yeah, really glad about that. So Google has a lot of these really sweet products in machine learning, in big data, in infrastructure, all the cool things that we talked about. But the question for a lot of you is like, how do you take all this goodness and make the best of it for your business, right? How do you start from where you are and migrate to the cloud? Let's look at a couple of different ways you could make your migration work. But before we begin, I'd like to quickly show you a video about a very large, interesting business choosing Google Cloud and why they made that decision.
Lighting is something which is pretty static. You think about it when it doesn't work anymore. The change with LED is that it not only became greener and more sustainable, but it became intelligent.
Philips Hue is an internet-connected lighting solution.
You can steer your lighting with your voice, have the lights change with music when you have a party, as well as an element of comfort and security in it.
When we launched Philips Hue, we didn't know whether we needed infrastructure for 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people. We wanted it just to scale and work.
So our choice of partners was fundamental. We needed that scalability, that backend, that robustness, that maturity. That's why we selected Google.
We've worked with the Google Cloud team since the very beginning. At the moment, we're running on the Google Container Engine. This is working fantastically for us. By breaking our application down into containers, we have all these small parts that we can deploy, release, test independently, and that's allowed us to move to much faster release cycles. We were able to spend less time tinkering with infrastructure and more time focusing on the applications and the use cases for consumer. We are really getting close to the cutting edge of what's there.
We're growing tremendously, and we want to make sure that we can deliver the lighting experience we want in every single home.
Not just Philips, but thousands of businesses globally are moving to cloud, and they're choosing Google as their preferred solution. So we have Unilog, which is an e-commerce business. Unilog saw 80% reduction in their site delivery time with Google. Broad Institute. Broad Institute is a leader in genomics research. They were able to do their analyses 400% faster with Google. AgroTools. AgroTools is a leader in agricultural intelligence. They boosted their sales by 40%, reduced costs by 30% by moving to cloud and with Google. Lush. Lush is a brand that is very conscious about their environmental footprint. And with Google Cloud and all the efficiencies we bring to the table, Lush was able to reduce their energy footprint by 50%. These are just a few of the very large number of diverse benefits that you could see after moving to cloud. And this migration doesn't have to be very difficult or time-consuming. So Whirlpool migrated their first app to Google in 5 days. In less than a week, you're on Google. Lush completed their entire e-commerce migration in 22 days, so 3 weeks, and you're there. We already talked about Evernote, and we saw Truecaller. I mean, if you're even moving entire systems, with Evernote, it was more than 200 million users. To Google, 70 days. So we're talking about really large migrations that are happening in less than a quarter, in less than a month, in less than a week. So how do you get started on this journey? You can start your migration to Google in 3 simple steps. First thing, you want to assess your application inventory and decide what you want to move, right? In the assessment phase, you want to look at all the applications you have, analyze the dependencies, and pick a first mover. Very simply, you just want to classify your application space into easy, medium, and hard, and then obviously start with the easiest ones. Now, if you are new to the cloud, and if you want to know a sure way to fail is to start with the most complex application. Right? If you're going to start running, you're not going to run a marathon on day 1, are you? I hope not. If you're going to learn mathematics, you don't want to start with differential calculus on day 1. You start with something simple, something easy. You use these migrations to learn more about your cloud provider, to develop that engineering skill in your team, to experiment. You can try spinning up and spinning down a few virtual machines. You can see how billing works, see how these systems are scaling up and scaling down. You truly want to build that muscle. Also, you want to make sure that when you're picking a particular first mover, that experience gives you that time and space to experiment and learn. You don't want to pick your first application as the one that is business critical, because you don't want outages taking your business down. So just let's look at how we can analyze the application space and find out what would be the best first mover for us. Now, this is a small trick that I usually suggest to different customers, is just look at your application space. You have your marketing website, you have your backup and archiving loads, you have back office applications, data processing, e-commerce site, core application, all of these different things. Look at which of these are business critical applications. Which of these cannot tolerate outages? That's what we will call as critical. Which of these applications are highly connected? They have dependencies on other apps which are on-premise, and a lot of other applications have dependencies on them. So those would be the highly connected applications. Now, you can bucket your applications into 3 clear categories: the disconnected and non-critical, the connected and critical, and in the middle you have connected and non-critical. Now, it so happens that the disconnected and non-critical group is usually where you will find all the easy migrations happening. So your marketing website, for example, may not be getting updated that often. Or an excellent example is backup and archive. It's possible that you're downloading, say, your customer data once a week or once a month, and that naturally gives you that 1 week gap or 1 month gap where you can run your migration to the cloud and not have your business being affected. So that's going to be your first set of movers, the disconnected and non-critical, all the green labels that we have over here on the screen. What about the next phase? Well, for the second phase, you will probably look into more like back office applications or some kind of data processing applications. As you start moving your applications to the cloud, you will naturally enter a phase which is called as the hybrid phase. So some of your applications are sitting on-premise, some of them have migrated to the cloud. You will have to figure out and learn how to make applications in different ecosystems work. And that naturally is a phase that's going to be hybrid. Almost every cloud migration goes through the hybrid phase at some point or another. This summit today does have a session on hybrid, and I would definitely encourage you to take a look at that because it's going to be a part of your journey no matter how you're approaching it. All right, now you migrated your second batch of applications. Finally, you are now at your core application, the business critical ones. How do you move from there? Well, the hope is that by the time you are at a point where you want to move your core applications, you already have built that muscle. You've already built that engineering team. You already know about your cloud provider. You know how hybrid works. And then that transition is just a little bit easier. All right, so we assessed our application inventory, and then we decided that, okay, the back office application is the first one we will move. Wave 2 will be all of these, and then finally, wave 3 will be the core critical applications. What next? The next step is that you want to plan your migration type. You can do your migration in many different ways, but I'll suggest a couple, just 3 different migration types that you could consider. All right, now, unless you're already fully invested in the cloud, most of your applications are going to start in this bottom red box. They will be running on-premise, and they will be architected as using the classic application and architecture options. So they're not really cloud native. Now, an outcome or a consequence of this choice is going to be that you're going to be paying a lot of money for provisioning resources to run this. So for example, if you're expecting a big spike in orders or something, and then you have to provision extra resources, you have to plan ahead, pay for all that extra resources that you need. Plus, your system is going to be fairly rigid, difficult to change. It's going to take many, many cycles to move. Where you want to be is in the top right quadrant. You want to be portable, scalable, and highly available, all the benefits that come with cloud-native apps, and you want to just pay for what you use. You want security to be built in, the benefits that essentially come with public cloud, like Google. How do you get from bottom left to top right? Now, one thing I will tell you is don't try to jump directly. Don't try to modernize your application and shift it to the cloud all in one giant step. Although it can work, it is just going to be a little risky, and you're going to see a much longer cycle before you start reaping the benefits of cloud. So what could you do? Well, you can take a little detour. You can go with lift and shift. Instead of drastically changing everything, you're simply going to take the applications as they are and move them to the cloud without any kind of severe redesigning of the app. This is going to give you the benefits of public cloud, so pay-per-use, security, but not really the full benefit of cloud-native apps. So in terms of higher availability, you may need to make some changes, make it cloud-native. So you're getting there 50% of the way really fast, but not the entire way all the way. What else could you do? Well, you could take the other route, which might be quite obvious, is what we call as improve and move. So sometimes, in some cases, it is better to actually refactor that application, to modernize it before you try to move it to the cloud. We will look at specific reasons where we could use this strategy. And then finally, I told you not to take this route, but I'm still going to mention it here. In just some of the few cases, moving directly might make sense. This is essentially when you're writing an entirely new application to replace an old one. So you develop the new one as a cloud-native app deployed to the cloud and keep your old app running on-prem. And then once you're fully ready, you just switch over. So in some sense, this is not a migration. This is like rewriting something from scratch. All right, and then I mentioned again the hybrid and connect. As your applications are moving, you will build that strength of connecting on-premise and cloud applications and making them work together seamlessly. All right, let's take a closer look at lift and shift. So lift and shift is a great option to use when you're looking for speed. You want to beat Whirlpool in that 5-day migration, lift and shift is going to be your strategy. This is great for applications that really don't need to change. They're working fine. All you want to do is get the resource allocation automated, get the pay-per-use. OK, lift and shift is your way to go. Now, how does your architecture change with lift and shift? Let's just take a look. Here you have your typical 3-tier business application. You have your load balancer, web server, app server based on Linux, and then you have your data sitting in a MySQL box somewhere. How would it look if we migrated this to the cloud? Well, pretty similar. The load balancer is simply replaced with the Google Cloud Load Balancer. The MySQL is replaced with Google Cloud SQL. And your Linux boxes are now replaced with Compute Engine. Easy peasy. What you can see is I've also added like 2 zones for each of the Compute Engine options. What that does is just naturally provides higher availability for your app. So even with almost no re-architecting, moving your architecture just as is to the cloud, you're already seeing benefits of higher availability, better security, and pay-per-use. So a lot of times, your first migration is probably going to be in the lift and shift category. And the benefits, you're already going to see a lot of these great things. However, not everything is going to be suitable for the lift and shift option. So what is not going to fit into the lift and shift is probably going to fit into the improve and move. So applications that have dependencies which are just not supported in the cloud, you will have to rewrite it before you try to move. Or applications that are very resource intensive. If you move a really resource intensive app to the cloud, you're going to start seeing very high bills at the end of the month, and you don't want that to happen. So those kinds of applications you will have to rewrite. You will have to improve first before you try to move. Now, how would the same architecture change with improve and move? Well, since we are modernizing our app, since we are refactoring it, we have this benefit of replacing our data, which was simple MySQL database, with splitting it into static content and dynamic content. Maybe for the static content, you could use some of the optimized features of Google Cloud. Similarly, for the Linux box, which was like just one server sitting there with all your with all your core app running, you could now split it. And you could have the front end being run by an app engine. Just a lot of these Google features that you could start using to make your app run even better on the cloud. Now, as you can see, the architecture on the top and the bottom, it doesn't really map one-to-one anymore. Things have changed just a little bit. So that's a feature that comes with Improve and Move. And just for completion, I will talk about rip and replace. Again, this is not really a migration. You're rewriting your entire app. You're starting from scratch. You're starting from a clean slate. It's sometimes great to be able to do that, to have no technical debt, no legacy problems to worry about. So typically, you will use the rip and replace option when you want to add new features. You really want to redesign what you're doing in your business workflow as well. So with the rip and replace, as you can see, the re-architected application is going to look entirely different. You've probably added new features like batch processing, streaming data processing, just a lot of different cool things. Don't even try to map those boxes to each other. That's not how it works. You're essentially creating a brand new application from scratch. This is going to take a much longer time to build, but eventually it's going to get you the brand new cloud-ready app that you wanted. So again, it's an option, but use this with caution. All right, we looked at the 3 migration types. We took your selected application, we picked a migration type, mapped the architecture. What next? The next step, you want to actually execute the migration. And this essentially involves deploying the migration to the cloud, and then operationalizing it. Then you go back and do the same process for the next batch of applications, the next batch of applications, until you're fully migrated to the cloud. Now, for execution or for deployment, you don't really have to do this all by yourself. Google actually has a lot of very well-documented tools and information about how these deployments work. It's very likely that the deployment that you're trying to implement is something that Google has written a white paper on or has built a tool so that it's just one click of going from on-prem to cloud. We also have lots of trainings and videos that will literally make it a spoon-feeding experience to actually do the deployment. If that isn't good enough, then we have a number of technology partners that will provide you the deployment process literally being like 2 lines of code or very, very easy to do. So Velostrata, Puppet, Salt, Ansible, all of these partners with Google provide a bunch of these tools. Finally, if that is really not what you want it to be even easier, then we have our service integration partners. A lot of them, actually, there are 2 slides of these. All of these partners actually provide cloud migration services for Google Cloud. So you could work with some of these and actually have your migration started right away. So this is the second one. We do have a lot of partners, and all of these partners work with Indian businesses as well. All right, and then finally, if you really want to talk to Google engineers, then we have a bunch of Googlers who we call as professional services team who are here to help you. Customer engineers typically help you understand what services and tools would work best for your needs. Solution architects will sit down and design the application for you. And finally, the professional services organization is going to help you plan and engage trainers and just actually move your workloads to cloud. So with all these options, I do want to make sure that you have a flavor of what it would take to move to cloud. Please take some time to learn about all of these in all the different booths we have at this very summit. And I really hope that you can get started with one migration, at least one migration right away. Thank you.